All right, let's just get right into it. For years, marketers have pretty much bet the farm on one single technology to figure out what's working and what's not. Well, guess what? That technology is going away, and it is forcing a massive change in how we measure success. This isn't just some small tech update. It's a complete rethinking of how you understand your customer and really your entire business.
I mean, this is the question, right? It's the one that keeps every single marketing leader up at night. You spend a ton of money on a campaign, the dashboards look fine, but did that cash actually create new business? Or did you just end up paying for sales you were going to get anyway? This is the absolute core of the problem we have to solve.
I love this analogy because it just hits the nail on the head. Imagine going through years of school, all the classes, all the homework, all the exams, and then giving 100% of the credit to the person who just hands you a piece of paper at the end. It's absurd, right? But that's exactly what we've been doing in marketing for years. So let's officially call it what it is. For decades, many of us have been operating under what I like to call marketing's last click lie. We've been clinging to this super simple metric, mostly because it was easy, but the whole time it's been actively pointing us in the wrong direction about what's actually driving growth. So on the left here, you can see that simple, clean story we all told ourselves. Customer clicks an ad, they buy, boom, Google gets all the credit. But the reality, over on the right, is so much messier and, frankly, more interesting. The truth is, a customer might see you on Facebook, get an email, read a blog post about you. They might have 6, 10, even 20 different touch points before they finally decide to buy. That last Google search didn't create the demand, it just cashed it in at the finish line. So, what's the big earthquake that's finally forcing us to confront this lie? Well, it's the beginning of the end for the third-party cookie. This old piece of tech is finally collapsing, and yeah, it feels a little like a crisis, but I want you to see it differently. It's actually a golden opportunity to fix a system that was, let's be honest, always kind of broken. And if you want to understand just how big of a deal this is, just look at this chart. Google Chrome has 2/3 of the entire global browser market. So when Google decides to phase out third-party cookies, it's not just a small change. It's a tidal wave that affects pretty much everyone who uses the internet. And look, this isn't some theoretical what-if problem. Google ran its own tests, and they found that the top 500 ad publishers in the world saw their revenue drop by an average of a whopping 52% when the cookies were turned off. The financial pain from this is very, very real. So here's the kicker. Our vision was already pretty blurry. Even with cookies, the best we could do is see maybe 40% of a customer's journey across their different devices. Now without them, that visibility just plummets to maybe 15 or 20%. We're essentially going from driving in the fog to driving with a blindfold on. Okay, but here's where it gets good. The solution isn't about desperately searching for a cookie replacement. It's about building a completely new, way smarter system from the ground up. And we're going to call this the new attribution stack. This new stack has 3 key layers that all work together. Think of it like a cake. At the top, the big picture layer, you've got media mix modeling. The middle layer is all your own stuff, your first-party data. And the foundational layer, the one that holds it all up, is incrementality testing, which is basically a truth serum for your marketing. So first up, media mix modeling, or MMM. Think of this as your 30,000-foot view. It looks at all your historical, high-level data, like how much you spent on a channel versus how many sales you got, to see the big trends. And the best part, it doesn't need to track individual people, which makes it totally privacy-friendly and perfect for making those big budget calls. The second layer is all about your own data. This is the information you collect on your website, in your app, from your email list, all the digital places you actually own. It's all based on consent, a direct relationship with your customers, and it's often powered by much more reliable server-side tracking that those pesky ad blockers can't touch. And finally, we get to that truth serum. Incrementality testing. This is where you get to be a real scientist. You run actual experiments. You show ads to a test group, but you hold them back from a similar control group. Then you just measure the difference. This is the only way to prove, with real certainty, that your ad dollars are actually causing new sales to happen. Okay, so that's the theory, that's the what and the why. But how do you actually make this happen? Let's break it down and walk through a 5-step action plan to turn all this talk into a real framework you can actually use. Here's your roadmap. Step 1, you've got to audit your data. Map out every single customer touchpoint you can possibly see. Step 2, you establish what we call universal identifiers, like a customer's email, so you can connect the dots of their journey.
Step 3, you get server-side tracking set up for way better accuracy. 4, you implement a multi-touch attribution model. That's just a fancy way of giving credit to lots of steps, not just the last one. And finally, step 5, you make a habit of running those incrementality tests regularly to prove it's all working. Now, this is not just some nice idea on a slide. Brands are already doing this. They're putting this stack into action and seeing some pretty incredible results. So let's look at a couple of real-world examples of how this shift from theory to actual profit really works. This slide says it all, really. It perfectly shows why you can't always trust the numbers a platform gives you. So one brand was looking at their report from Meta, and it showed a 1x return on ad spend. Basically, they thought they were just breaking even. But when they ran a proper media mix model, they found out the true return was 3.5 times higher. The platform was actually undervaluing its own impact. Crazy, right? All right, here's a fantastic example from a clothing brand in Dhaka. They didn't have $1 million budget, they used a really simple server-side setup, and were just super disciplined about using UTM parameters, those little tags you put on your links, to track where every click came from. They just needed to find the truth hidden in their own data. So Meta's own report was telling them, hey, your ads in the main feed are your best performers. Keep doing that. But once they looked at their own clean server-side data, the truth was completely different. It turned out that Instagram Stories ads were actually 4 times more efficient at making them money. 4 times. And so what did they do? It's simple. They took that insight and they moved their budget away from the feed and put it into stories. And the result? A massive 41% improvement in their overall marketing efficiency. And the best part? They did it without spending a single extra dollar. That is the incredible power of accurate measurement. So let's wrap this all up. At the end of the day, the real problem was never the cookie itself. It was our obsession with a lazy, flawed, last-click model. The new stock we've talked about isn't just a workaround. It's better, it's more accurate, and it respects user privacy. Look, your goal shouldn't be perfect data, because that doesn't exist. It should be about making smarter, directionally correct decisions. This whole thing is a huge opportunity to finally fix a system that was broken from the get-go. And that really leaves us with just one final question for you to think about in your own business. Last click was easy, it was simple, but it wasn't what truly mattered. So as you move forward into this new era, you have to ask yourself, are you going to keep measuring what's easy, or are you finally ready to start measuring what truly drives your business forward?